Hey there. Welcome to CyberPulse by Quantum Shield, the podcast where we make cybersecurity less intimidating and a lot more exciting. Every episode, we're diving into the latest digital drama, from sneaky hackers to the coolest defense strategies, all while sharing tips you can actually use. So grab a coffee, get comfy, and let's navigate this crazy digital world together.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. You know how we always dive into some pretty complex, pretty important stuff here, right?
Absolutely. Gotta love a good deep dive.
Exactly. And today is no exception. We're tackling cybersecurity risk management.
A big one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, these days it feels like every other headline is about some data breach or another. Honestly, it can be kind of overwhelming.
It really can be, yeah.
So we're going to break it all down. What it actually means, what it looks like in the real world, how it protects you, and most importantly, how you can actually use it to stay safe online.
Sounds good to me. And just to be clear, you don't need to be some kind of tech genius to wrap your head around this.
No, not at all.
It's really about approaching your security strategically.
That makes sense.
We're going to arm you with those fundamental principles so you can make informed decisions about protecting your data.
Okay, perfect. So let's just jump right in, shall we? Cybersecurity risk management. I'll be honest, it sounds a little intimidating.
It's definitely a mouthful.
It is. When you hear that, what comes to mind? What does that actually mean?
You know, the simplest way I can put it is think of it like a security blueprint.
Okay, a blueprint.
Yeah. You're identifying potential threats to your data. So you're figuring out how likely they are to happen. And then you're coming up with ways to minimize the impact if, worst case scenario, something does happen.
Right.
Because we are talking about protecting really important stuff, right? Your personal information online, a company's financial records, anything that you want to keep safe. Cybersecurity risk management is part of that.
So we're talking about identifying those vulnerabilities before they become big problems.
Exactly. I always think about it like, you don't want to wait until your roof starts leaking to realize you need a new one.
Right.
It's much better to be proactive and address that vulnerability early on.
That's such a good analogy. So we're taking control of the situation before it has a chance to become a crisis.
Precisely. And that's the core of cybersecurity risk management. It's not just about reacting to problems. It's about actively working to prevent them.
I see. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So we've covered the why, the importance of protecting ourselves and our information. But what about the how? How do we actually put this into practice? What does that look like?
So it all begins with a solid system.
Okay.
And the foundation of that system. Clear policies, clear procedures, clear guidelines. Okay. Now, this is going to look different for individuals and organizations.
Right.
For an individual, it could be as simple as make sure all your accounts have strong, unique passwords.
Yeah.
And turn on that two-factor authentication whenever you can.
Which, side note, two-factor authentication can be a lifesaver.
Absolutely.
I mean, if someone gets your password, that extra layer of protection can make all the difference.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, if we're talking about companies, obviously it gets a bit more complex.
Right. Yeah, they've got a lot more at stake.
They do. Businesses might use things like penetration testing.
Penetration testing? What's that?
Yeah, so basically, ethical hackers try to find weaknesses in their systems.
Oh, wow. So they're like putting their defenses to the test.
Exactly. And then, of course, training their employees on, cybersecurity best practices.
Right. So you don't just need the tech. You need people to know how to use it properly.
100%. And then, of course, there's things like data encryption. That's always a big one.
So it's like you've identified your treasure, all that valuable data, and now you're building a treasure map with all these different tools and strategies. But your map doesn't just show you where to go. It tells you who to call if you run into trouble.
Exactly. Because clear communication is critical, especially when it comes to cybersecurity.
Absolutely.
Businesses need to ensure everyone knows exactly what to do and who to contact if a security incident does occur.
So what I'm gathering here is that cybersecurity risk management, it's not just about the technology itself. It's much bigger than that.
Yeah.
It's about having a well-defined plan and making sure that everyone is on the same page, right?
Right. It really is. It's a team effort, no doubt about it.
Okay. Now, before we wrap things up, I do want to touch on something that I think is really important. This isn't a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Oh, no, not at all.
Cybersecurity, it's constantly evolving, right?
Absolutely. It's a fast-paced world, always changing. New threats are emerging all the time. So your approach to cybersecurity has to adapt and change right alongside it.
It's like that constant game of cat and mouse.
Exactly.
You've always got to be one step ahead.
Exactly.
Okay, so for those listening, what can we do? What role do we play in all of this? I mean, it can feel a bit daunting, like it's out of our control sometimes.
I get that, and it's a great question. Look, you don't have to be a cybersecurity expert to make a difference. As individuals, as consumers, as employees, we all have a role to play in advocating for stronger security measures.
Okay, I like that. How so?
Well, we can start by asking questions.
Okay.
Ask your employer about their security practices. Do your own research. There's so much information out there.
Right.
Learn about how to protect your personal information. And support organizations that are pushing for better cybersecurity standards across the board.
So knowledge really is power when it comes to cybersecurity.
100%.
The more we know, the better equipped we are to protect ourselves and those around us.
Absolutely. It's an ongoing process, no doubt about it, a lot of learning and adapting. But by understanding these basics, by staying informed, we can all make a real difference.
I love that. Okay, so to wrap things up here,
That's us.
we've talked about the what and the why of cybersecurity risk management.
We have.
But I think the real takeaway here is that it's not just about the technology. It's about having that proactive mindset, having a solid plan in place, and making sure that everyone is on board.
That's the key.
Whether you're an individual or part of a large organization, those principles are universal.
They really are.
And remember, cybersecurity is an ongoing process.
Always evolving.
Stay informed, stay curious, and stay safe out there.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And on that note, that is a wrap on another deep dive.
Until next time.
Thanks for hanging out with us on CyberPulse. Remember, cybersecurity doesn't have to be scary. It's all about staying sharp and a little bit savvy. Keep learning, stay curious, and don't let those cyber gremlins get you down. Catch you next time, and until then, stay safe, stay smart, and keep crushing it online.